so strong for them in the past, and understanding how to track the jungler, get involved, steal away these camps, and get a big jungle lead for themselves isn't happening anymore because they're not walking hand in hand with PP God.
Well, we've already kicked off our draft actor, and we are firing away with Chalitza grabbing himself that Renekton. This is his most played top laner this split, but it's also just like, it's Renekton. We're in the LPL. B1 Renekton. This is just the standard lock-in at this point.
Yeah, we have seen it start to crop up in a lot of other regions, though, just because of the strength of Renekton playing around these AP junglers, or at least setting up the junglers. And also with the Gore Drinker buffs, he's now actually pretty good coming into these mid to late game team fights. Just so much survivability in his kit. Let's see what V5 decide to go with here. It looks like Weiwei is going to go back towards what has been creeping up as one of his favorites. That's the third time now he's picked up this Udyr, and the biggest issue for me here, though, yeah, like, I would have preferred to see the Taliyah come in here. I think it just takes away what's going to be a very potent jungler for Xiaopeng. I honestly think Taliyah is the best jungler on this patch right now. And it means that then they can't go for any pesky plays in this top side.
That's true, but we're not seeing the Taliyah, so we'll look towards this bottom lane, which will be the Leona and Xayah. Now over to V5, who need to blind pick a mid laner by the looks of things with this Syndrome.
I think they need to pick up a support here. Like, the Syndra is kind of handy for Mole. It's been one of his most played. He's looked great on it. But I think the biggest issue is now that you've kind of opted in towards a little bit of a weaker bot side with the Jhin versus the Xayah and Leona, solidifying an Alistair or even a Rel or something along those lines in the bottom lane that can keep this Jhin safe is going to be very high priority, especially if Xiaopeng can go for one of these early ganking orientated junglers.
Look, all I'm saying is, we've got Weiwei on Udyr that had a 29% win rate so far in the LPL. Now we've got Moloch in his Syndra that has a 33% win rate in the LPL. And that's not off of a couple of games. That's off of a lot of games. You mentioned the Taliyah jungle, though. V5 acknowledging that that is a potential strategy for TT. So they're going to ban that away as we move into the second ban phase.
Yeah, and I think as well, we'll probably see some funky bans here, potentially from V5. Like, Xiaopeng has brought out the Rek'Sai already. That's why it's kind of highlighting this early game jungling style that he likes to go for. And especially when you've got a Renekton in the top lane, you can play very heavily around that top side with the Rek'Sai and provide a huge amount of burst damage to go for that play. But looks like we're going to see the Orianna banned out instead. So trying to target Twyla, who has definitely been notorious for having a bit of a weak champion pool, has often opted in towards picks like the Zillion, even the Cassiopeia in the mid lane, just because he's been pinched when it comes towards the draft.
I feel like V5's draft is kind of, they already know the lanes that they're going against with their two remaining picks, right? You've got the Renekton there, you've got the Leona there. They need a support and a top laner, so you can kind of go in any direction right now for V5. I wouldn't be too averse to seeing that Jace. We've seen Jace is the top pick for Invincible in his LDL days, but instead we have a Rel for PP God. They're going in, Dag.
Yeah, we do get the Rel. I like this into the bot lane. Again, we are kind of talking about solidifying a strong bot lane for them. Rel fits in there, can go aggressive, but also provides a lot of peel for this Jhin. And I think coming into this final pick for V5, this is where we get to see what Invincible is like. Is he going to go for something like the Aatrox and go, wait, come up here, I'm going to knock Chalitza 2 ways till sideways and just make sure that he's going to be able to win that lane? Or does he opt in towards something like the Gragas and go for this more defensive matchup? Like, I'm excited to see, this is where we get to kind of get a glimpse of to the person that Invincible is.
We also get a bit more of a glimpse at what Xiaopeng wants to be this split as he goes. Or hang on a second here.
Okay.
We got a Sejuani jungle, we got a Camille and a Renekton in the same squad. And we have a ton of AD damage.
Yeah, so this is a Renekton mid then. This has actually been an LPL special where, like, the rest of the world is waking up to Renekton top, so LPL has decided, you know what, we need to be different. We need to go for this Renekton mid to keep the Renekton as our pick. But it will mean that Chalitza can take this Camille into the top line. Now, though, the Aatrox coming in for Invincible, so certainly looking to be aggressive in this matchup. But this isn't the worst of matchups for the Camille. She can kind of scale reasonably well, but will need some pressure from Xiaopeng just to help escort her through that early lane.
So the Aatrox that you talked about for Invincible is locked in as well. So we will see this Camille versus Aatrox. And check out those summoner spells from Chalitza. He's going Teleport Ignite. This is an aggressive top lane. This is Chalitza wanting to win out the 1v1.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the plan is. And certainly that Ignite helps in just bypassing some of the early lane phase problems that Camille has by getting an aggressive summoner spell that kind of says, back off, don't go over aggressive because I can get that turnaround kill, and relying on that hook shot to escape. So overall, you're kind of looking at a bit of a pick composition coming in for the side of TT, where they're going to be looking to see if they can make some of these early plays happen with the Leona and the Camille and pick off members in these team fights before everything really starts. On the opposite side though, definitely looking towards a much more team fight orientated style, which has been very synonymous with V5 over the course of both this split and last split.
Well, we want to see V5 looking strong in this series. TT have yet to get themselves a series win on the board. V5 are a team that people want to be making to playoffs. They want to see the same V5 that we got to see at the end of last year that made that incredible summer split happen. We want to see more of that, and this is a win that they will need if they want to prove themselves as a top team in the LPL.
Well, gonna have to make sure that they're picking up very early aggression in this game, because when I look towards like this Aatrox versus Camille top, I'm looking at this Renekton versus Indra mid, I'm expecting a lot of activity towards this top side of the map. So keep your eyes on Weiwei and Xiaopeng's clears to see how they can try and influence it. Weiwei certainly will be able to go towards a much quicker clear on the Udyr, probably going for a 4 or 5 camp start in towards his top side, whereas Xiaopeng will probably opt in towards a double buff and maybe this Gromp on top to see if he can get up towards Chalitza and help this Camille win the lane.
And it's worth pointing out as well that Xiaopeng's playing that Sejuani. You have to remember that how the permafrost works. Melee attacks can stack up her E-stun. So she has a Camille and a Renekton that can both set that up beautifully. Sejuani has lanes for days to get.
And the Leona as well. Like, you've got 4 melee users that can all start to proc those. So early skirmishes, especially towards the likes of the Rift Herald on the top side, are going to be very potent for TT and something that V5 have to be aware of. However, if we can get Weiwei to start things off well for V5, getting control of this early game, getting invincible ahead, well, then it becomes a little bit more difficult for TT to enact that game.
Got a bit of a trade on the bottom side. As you'd expect, PP got a Y4 to be winning the level 1 trades when they've got a Jhin on their side against Desire. But Dagda, I want to ask you about this Udyr pick, because I'm not going to lie, mate. This is feeling a bit like a bait pick at this point. 29% win rate, and we're seeing it a lot. This doesn't feel... Why is everyone prioritizing it so heavily?
So it's still a very good pick for how quick your clear is. You can get access to the map far quicker, and the early game is really strong. The actual problem that I see with a lot of the Udyrs that we're picking up is just no attention towards these early dragons. Udyr's benefits come from his fast clear into a very quick reset, and you can go literally off the 5-minute, 36-minute mark to take these early dragons. And unfortunately, if we're not getting that early play, well, then Udyr's problems start to creep into those mid to late game team fights where he's not quite able to close the gap. He's only really providing a little bit of CC before he has to get pushed back or poked out. And honestly, that's where I've been seeing a lot of issues with the Udyr, more so with the pick itself.
So it's more about how the team are playing around the pick. So a fairly similar sort of style of jungling to the Olaf that we've seen picked and banned so much so far in this split. We'll see if V5 are going to play towards the dragon. Typically, we've seen them playing on the top side as Invincible. Not taking the best trades in the world here. Chalitza really starting to get the best of this matchup.
And I'm actually surprised that we're not getting much more jungle attention up towards the top side. Weiwei went for that full clear, and it looks like his goal in this game is to just outpace this Sejuani. So Xiaopeng now is going to be under pressure to go for these ganks and to make sure this Sejuani pick is not losing control of this game early. Wiz looking towards this mid lane.
Yeah, Twilight goes forward to try and get onto Mole. The stun is going to be there. Permafrost procced as well. Flash on in. The flail misses though. Mole survives, and now in comes the bear. Flash bear slaps his quick shot as Xiaopeng will go down for first blood. And they want a little bit more, but Ruthless Predator stuns up Weiwei. The stun is answered. Mole didn't have any mana though.
Gorgeous play from V5. Mole just about manages to escape away from that Sejuani and understanding, hey, look, they've thrown everything at the kitchen sink at me. They don't have the range to get onto me, so I can turn this around. Invincible, though. Woo, that was a bit close.
I don't know about that flash for Invincible there. Flashes and then misses the Q, unfortunately. So, you know, it's his first time on stage, okay, guys?
It's the mindset.
This is stage jitters.
It's the mindset that I want. This is what I wanted to see. Was it Gragas or was it an Aatrox? Was it the aggression? Well, it was aggressive. He might get punished for it, though.
He just used his flash to fail a play, and now on his first game in the LPL, Invincible is punished unbelievably heavily.
Cut the tapes. Rewind. Wipe them off. This isn't what he wants to come into the
Let's
LPL.
just start again. Let's just start. Invincible doesn't want this result to be going the way that it's going.
But this is the thing, like, as I say, I mean, it's good to see this rookie coming in, trying to make these aggressive plays, going, hey, I don't care who I'm against. This is my style of game. The problem is that you're kind of in the LPL. These guys are pretty damn good at League of Legends. And if you're going to burn these early flashes, not even connect with the spells, get a favorable trade, you're going to get punished.
Well, let's catch up with Weiwei, because we talked about how he need. Oh no, hang on, forget Weiwei. It's Xiaopeng. It is all Xiaopeng. Nice little sidestep from Invincible. He's gonna get himself into the tower, but the stuns are still there. The damage is unstoppable, and Chalitza now with a kill on the Camille.
And this is exactly what Xiaopeng needs to be doing. We already said, hey, Weiwei's going to be trying to just outpace this Sejuani, get a lead through the camps, but Xiaopeng needs to make the ganks happen, and especially towards Chalitza. This guy is going to be able to take over in a split push role. He can be an absolute monster in these team fights as well if they want, so having this Camille ahead is only going to be good news for TT.
Samdi's going to be rooted up. This is a good little combo from Y4 and PP God. Ignite goes down, but they can't follow up with the fourth attack. And actually, it's PP God that's gone too deep. Ignite's taken, and that's going to be Teen grabbing the kill. Samdi with the 2v2 on his old team.
Getting the punishment on the X, saying, I don't need you anymore. Teen is all for me. And it's actually looking pretty clean. I mean, honestly, this TT bot lane has been a little bit messy. A lot of that coming from Team not really understanding how to position and when to aggress in lane. But if PP God takes that step too far, Samdi and Team can punish.
PP God going over aggressive, and Weiwei grabs that bottom scuttle and will zip on out of that. I want to catch up with jungles, because you mentioned it before, Dagda, that Weiwei wants to just outpace this Sejuani. Well, we've got two very different styles, right? Weiwei is 20 CS up in the jungle, whereas Xiaopeng has got his top laner massively ahead.
Yeah, and this is the thing now. Weiwei needs to turn this into dragon advantages. You've got Y4 and PP God who are trying to shove in this bottom lane. You can solo out this Drake pretty easily, but unfortunately with PP God giving that kill over, they kind of lose control of that bottom lane, and now you can't enact that game plan of stacking these early dragons. So Weiwei will keep farming, but it's TT who are coming out with those leads in the lanes and playing towards their strengths.
Gold is still just about even though, so I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves when it comes to the gold lead specifically, and part of that is down to the fact that while there's the CS lead in the jungle for Weiwei, there's also a CS lead in that top side. That's where Xiaopeng has been putting his emphasis. This Camille for Chalitza is building a large lead. They want to make a play for this Rift Tower, clearing the ward here, and they're just going to start this up straight away.
And look at your mini-map. You've got Mode who's only just come out of base. He's not positioned to try and contest for this. You also had Sam D who shoved in that bottom weight lane, so he'd started to teeter up towards this Rift Herald. And we'd already mentioned how strong these skirmishes are on the top side of the map for TT. So it looks like V5, they're just going to put their hands up and say, we're not interested. We're going to give this over.
And not to beat a dead horse too much, because we always talk about this with V5, this split, but this is a team that has revolved heavily around getting this first Herald and using that to snowball the game. Do you see this as like a big deal that V5 aren't getting this, or is this a different style of V5 than what we use?
So I don't mind them not getting the Rift Herald, especially when you're already, as we said, very, very strong top side of the map for TT. The bigger issue is that they're not trading it for anything, right? They've seen that this is the case, but they're not trying to go and trade it for a dragon or make any sort of cross-map play. They're just accepting, okay, well, this is now gone. I guess Weiwei will go back to farming. And this is the issue with Weiwei, that without grouping with PP God and getting these invades, well, you're not really achieving too much for the V5 jungler.
I do just want to point something out. Oh, I don't have time because Invincible is yet again in trouble. His flash is just about to come off cooldown, but not quick enough. Another kill for Chalitza. That is a free ticket to use this Herald topside. Wei wants to stop them, but I don't know if he can do that by himself. Mole is here, but Twyla's followed him into the river. And they are going to dissuade the Rift Herald at very least, but I don't know. V5 falling rapidly behind, and Invincible at his debut game is 0-3-0.
He has been the focus of everything from TT, and you can see V5 are trying to stop the bleeding, but roaming Mole up was too late. Twyla was already following as well, and they've got to back off. So this is not looking pretty for V5 right now. And when you're looking at Chalitza 2-0, he's already very quickly working towards that Triforce. You're going to have Twyla as well, who will be able to pick up that Gore Drinker soon. That's going to be a very strong 1 to 2 item TT that can now start to pick up dragons of their own. Look to get that second Rift Herald, plonk a whole bunch of extra gold still in towards the top side. Hang on, Shoutpunk, are you rinse and repeat? Are you going top again for a gank?
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Flash is available this time. And clearly, TT, as a team of predominantly rookies, just hate rookies because they are really looking to ruin Invincible's debut performance here. V5, at least this time around, will start this dragon off. We finally start to see this Udyr stacking these drakes.
But this is the problem now for V5, right? It's 5 minutes too late. You don't have like the second dragon that could have potentially been taken right now. And when you look at the scaling that comes in on TT's side, you know, Camille wanting to get 3-4 items to outpace the Aatrox. Sam D as well will be an absolute menace in these team fights when he gets towards 3 items. You're not stacking these dragons early enough to play towards your compositional strengths. So in the long run, TT just say, cool, we'll hand over next dragon. We'll get towards the likes of the Triforce and the Sterix and the everything for Chalitza. And then we'll look to fight you at that 3rd, 4th dragon and still be fine.
Twyla has found PP God in the river, gets the stun, but, you know, it's a Rel. She's literally made of armor, so you're not going to do that much in the 1v1 there.
I really want to see a Michelin Man, Rel. I just feel like it needs to be done with all the tires.
Literally made of rubber. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. Invincible's caught up in a Hextech ultimatum. And that is ultimately going to be his life, I think. Although, maybe living up to his name finally as he gets the first kill of the game and will not die. Xiaopeng falls down. Wei grabs that one for himself. And now Twyla wants to answer. This Renekton is massive in these kinds of skirmishes. Double goes down as Mole is trying to finish them off with the damage. The TT health bars are so low, but Twyla's playing Renekton. In goes PP God once more. Or his teen, in fact, as Twyla grabs himself for triple kill. Mole in a 1v2. Can he make this one happen for V5? Can he turn this one on its head? Doesn't look like he's going to quite have the range as Twyla runs away. And now there's TP coming. This fight just will not end. Teen goes in for the stun. He might have sacrificed his own life, though. But Chalitza is not got his flash available. He didn't run flash this game. The ignite isn't going to quite be enough. Twyla can't close the gap. Chalitza's trying to get on in here. One or more auto. Chalitza with the leg sweep.
It ain't clean, but TT come out on top. Triple kill for the Renekton. More kills going the way of Chalitza. And now they got time mid for this rift.
EP God's been found as well. The stun after stun after stun after stun. Now Herald goes in as Xiaopeng answers with his life here. Wei wants to get himself a double kill. He's trying to chase down Twyla, which has been the story of the last 10 minutes of the game. But Wei finally gets him down. Chalitza gets his 5th kill of this one as Invincible starts a 1v1 that I don't think he can win. Run, Invincible, because you cannot survive this one.
What is this game? What happened? All the objectives go down and there's like, no, we're not going to fight. We're not going to do anything. But God damn it, there's a ward top lane and we're going to smack each other around. Like, this play all just kicks off over PP God trying to get that roam top side. But we're going to look at bot side, which we didn't get to catch up with, as Sam D getting a little bit of payback on his predecessor.
Yeah.
Very nice job from the TT bot lane.
Sam D is mad that he got replaced on this squad, that Y4 stepped back into the roster, because if you think back to last year, Sam D replaced Y4. So for Y4 to be the start of this time around, Sam D to be relegated to TT, this one is personal, and you could feel it in that 1v1.
Definitely. And this feels like TT are just playing to their game plan. It's like, hey, you know what? Xiaopeng likes to gank early. Let's put him on towards the Sejuani, not worry about trying to play this complicated invade and jungle-orientated meta. This is a composition that is very stock standard. Let's just play through our jungle, play through the lanes, then get to a nice team fight where we can try and find some picks. It's very easy to execute. And from a TT perspective, who have been struggling, a group of rookies that are all trying to find themselves and how to work together, this composition makes a lot of sense to just make things as easy as possible for this team.
My only concern for them when it gets a little later in the game is they're against an Udyr and a Rel and an Aatrox that can just build infinite amounts of armor. And when you look across that team composition from TT, they ain't got much magic damage going for themselves like that.
Well, that's the thing that a lot of people forget. Camille's ultimate gives magic damage. So you still have to respect a lot of that magic damage Camille can put out. Same when you look at the Sejuani, like there's a lot of magic damage that is actually still there, even if you look at like Leona's damage. So you've got to respect it, and especially when you got Weiwei, who'd be pretty tanky, but apart from that, you know, Invincible, he's going all towards these drain tank items like the Gore Drinker, the Death Dances, the Sterix, like keeping himself up and running. He's not really opting towards a lot of armor. You actually end up reasonably okay with TT in this composition.
Hey, PP God is literally made of metal. So that one
That is true.
That
Yes.
point remains. Rel is literally made of steel. That's pretty good against I was gonna say against bullets. There's not really any bullets on this type. Against feathers. Hey,
Steel
look,
beats
if you're
feathers.
wearing,
I'll give you that
if
one.
you are literally made of metal and they are throwing feathers at you, you're gonna be okay. That's
Or
just,
a t-shirt,
that's just physics.
you know?
Yeah, literally anything. We've got a Herald in the mid lane, and PP God is not happy about it. In they go, and the curtain call across the squad as well, but TT are winning this one out. Maybe he's not metal enough. As TT just going to have to back away, but hey, they got themselves a kill, they got themselves a tower, they're going to be happy with that one.
I'd like to see them try and get this dragon, though. They are actually going to move over towards it now, especially when there's just been no pressure towards these early objectives. You really want to start racking these up, because otherwise you're just going to end up in this position where both teams are stalling out to super late. We end up with 5 items or 6 items across the board, and both teams staring each other down, afraid to make a move. So certainly TT getting these dragons in place, making sure they scale relatively well into this later portion is going to be a good call.
So TT actually doing an exceptional job. Let's just reiterate who these guys are. For anyone that's just tuning in, Chalitza's actually going to get dived. Weiwei tanking the tower for now, but you don't get to leave a tower dive when you're against a Camille. That's a 1-for-1 in favor of Chalitza there. That is going to be shut down goal going the way of Invincible, though.
It's going to be pretty nice to pick up that kill, but it was almost a lot worse. It would have been the hook shot in towards the kill and maybe escaping away for Chalitza, but Invincible just about managing to keep him in check. The problem is, though, these are desperation plays from V5. They realize that this game has got away from them. You've got the Triforce and that Ravenous Hydra nearly completed for Chalitza. Gale Force and the Essence Reaver nearly done for Sam D. They are getting to this place where they are incredibly strong, and because of how much control they have of this map, with having that mid lane turret up and that top lane turret still up, you can't really pressure anywhere on the map as V5 to actually stop TT from just grouping and driving those powerful items into your face.
Now, I do want to go back to the point I was about to make before, which is that we have to reiterate who these teams are and how they've been doing so far this split. TT in this split have a singular game win. Now, this is a league where we play best of 3, so one game is not good enough. They have 0 series wins. And right now, when you look at the scoreboard, when you look at how they're playing, it feels like they could be looking for their second win of the entire split and looking to upset V5 here in game number 1.
There's a big question mark here, though, because the problem with TT has been they get these early leads sometimes, but their mid-game decision-making isn't great. Like, right now, it's pretty good. I mean, this one's a little bit messy, but like trying to get the vision control in deep, making sure that they're setting themselves up with taking the standing gold on the map, getting deep vision for dragons, getting it for the Baron as well. This is much more coherent from TT, but I need to make sure they are staying grouped up, because otherwise they run the risk of getting picked off, and this has been a story of TT in so many scenarios.
We'll have to keep our eyes out on whether or not they can turn this mid game into a win. I mean, the early game strategy was pretty great, right? That's an evolution in of itself, as Invincible has to flash away, but he's fine. But the strategy basically so far was just camp Invincible. Let's just gank top 13 times in the first 12 minutes, and maybe we win the game off the back of that. The question is, can they transition that into a solid mid game? Can they turn it into a win? The next strike going to be coming up in 2 minutes, though, Dagda. Herald about to spawn. Oh, in fact, no. Herald. We're not seeing any more Heralds. It's Baron time in 20 seconds' time.
I like what V5 are doing right now in the map, though. They've realized, hey, look, you know what? We're not going to end up winning out on these turret plates. Our turrets, we're not going to be able to hold on to them. So let's just push side lanes.
Well, they've pushed a little bit too far. Twyla stunned under the tower, flashes out. Is Wei trying to chase him down, but TP being channeled. This is a 5v5. But that TP's a little deep. Chalitza tries to jump out. PP God with a triple knockup. The rest of the squad jumps in, but PP God has sacrificed his life for the greater good here. Is TT trying to escape? The health bars are low. Maybe V5 can turn this game on its head. Look at TT barely escaping with so many members. Twyla goes down, and now Chalitza stunned. Everybody bleeding out on the side of TT. Deadly Flourish goes wide. Sam D trying to escape as Teen sacrifices himself once more. Wei is going to chase him down. You can't run away from the bear. He's so damn quick, and the crying nah from Sam D. The root! He somehow gets the blade caller and walks away.
The emote strength, the power of the emotes kept him alive, where he just asked for forgiveness, and it is gifted by Wei. Sam D just about managed to escape, but this is what I was talking about, where TT, they end up making that one wrong mistake in the mid game, going that bit too far underneath the tower, and all the work, all the gold they had gained for themselves is tossed to the wind. And we're going to see it here. Just Xiaopeng going too far forward, misses the ultimate on towards Invincible. And from that point forward, you're too far gone. Like, the members of V5 are so damn good at running you down between curtain calls, between the chem tank that's going to be on this Udyr, and again, PP God. Magnificent engagement, locking everyone up. Beautiful scout of the week. It means you've got nowhere to hide as this TT side.
I'm keeping my eye on the bottom left of the screen here because I think we're about to see another fight. We saw the chase down happen. We saw Sam D get his blade caller route and escape. Teen tries to make his way in. Just goes a little wide on the Zenith blade. But Drake is up on the map. This is only the third Drake of the game. This isn't even that important of a Drake, but we are positioning, we are A-ramming, and we want a fight apparently, Dagda. As it's just going to be clearing the mid wave. TT, they've got the inside track.
They do, but you've got the range on V5. Like, you can poke pretty effectively with this Syndra, with this Jhin.
Massive damage onto Teen. He's going to go down. PP God will be answered, though. Both supports have fallen as Invincible in the middle of everyone, but he's Aatrox, and he's going to finally fall down to the Feather Storm. Blade Caller through the entire squad. V5 are wiped off of the map.
TT managed to get themselves into position where they can actually use those items. There's no towers, there's no pesky business with trying to get underneath those structures. And in the river, the blood of V5 will flow. Dragon picked up, and now they're turning their attention towards Baron.
All right, Mole. It's time for your big moment. He's on the Syndra. We know how much Syndras can steal the Barons with that UE combo. I don't think he can actually go over. He's just going to grab this chicken and recall. So this will be Baron for TT. They get themselves the fight. They've had the lead this entire game. This will be now 5,000 gold almost in their favor. Can they close it out?
And this looks so good for V5 to begin with. They pretty much just burst out Teen entirely. But instantly you can see PP God gets the return kill, and Mole isn't really in a position to try and follow up in this fight. He's positioned over the wall. He's already used everything in towards PP, or in towards Teen even on the Leona, and doesn't really have much to follow up in. So when you've got these big old tanks on the side of TT keeping Sam D safe, the consistent damage from TT is able to ruin V5's day.
This has been an impressive showing here from TT. This is already more than I was anticipating from the squad here today. One of the first things I said coming into this series was V5 should be looking for an easy win here if they want to cement themselves as one of the top teams in the LPL. TT are not going to give it to him. They are not going to let this go easy.
And it's heartbreaking to see for V5 because they have gained a lot of fans in the West, but this is not the same V5 we saw last year. And it doesn't really seem like they're willing to play around where their strengths are. We talked about going for that early 5.5 to 6 minute dragon. It was nearly 11 minutes before we saw Weiwei actually turn his attention towards those early objectives and starting to get some wins for V5. Sure, he was farming up on the Udyr, but you got Chalitza, who's now on 7 kills thanks to all the early pressure the Xiaopeng put in that top lane. With Twyla picking up 6 kills because, again, having Xiaopeng play towards this top side of the map. It just felt like V5 were just sitting back and not realizing how quickly this game was slipping away from them.
TT are not looking to take their foot off of the accelerator pedal just yet as another tier 2 goes down the bottom side of the map. That's 5 now out of the 6 outer towers. See if they can finish off the top one. Baron's still for another minute, so they should be able to do a little bit more with this one. As you can see, Twyla hanging around on the bottom side of the map. Chalitza feeling a bit of pressure. He knows that Weiwei's around here, or does he? Because he stepped forward again, takes a chunk here. In comes the Udyr, gets the stun, stuck to the wall, but Chalitza slides out. What can TT do elsewhere on the map? They don't want to go elsewhere on the map. They want to continue on the top side. They want to get some stuns on out. SamD finally arriving, but they can't quite make anything happen.
Yeah, I think TT are over-committing towards this top side and overloading it right now. They just needed to hold on and be like, cool, Chalitza's out, let's go and push mid. We know we've got the numbers advantage, look potentially even for a dive on those inhibitor turrets, but either way, they do force V5 back. That's the last outer turret down now, and with that Baron buff just about to wear off, they're going to reset, they're going to look towards this dragon in a minute and a half. So this is where they can look to close out this game. If they get one quick fight here, they can very quickly crack open the base. So from V5's side, they may just hold off and say, look, we need to finish a bit more items when it comes towards our top laner. We need to try and buy some time. But unfortunately, I think time is a luxury they don't have right now.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the items where they stand right now as we head just beyond the 25-minute mark. Look at Chalitza. 3 items on this Camille. He is an absolute monster. He will one-shot if he can get on towards someone like Y4 or Mole. And the same can be said for Twyla. When you look at this Renekton, this is not what we expect from Twyla. Twyla's the Zillion player. He's the Cassiopeia player. This guy has a weird champion pool of these kind of zone control mages. He's playing Renekton right now, and he looks the best I've seen him look in literally a year.
It is kind of sad though that you get Twyla off of what has been his actual champion pool and suddenly he looks okay. But yeah, I mean, look, if this is what TT are going to go with, this is looking pretty damn good. And I want to give a massive shout out to SamD as well. This bot lane has been really clean for what has been PP God and Y4 trying to go aggressive, trying to find these advantages. They turn around that early kill. SamD then gets the solo kill against Y4. Like, this guy, we were doubting him from last split, saying, you know what, he's been carried by PP God, he's not really doing as much as he could. That ain't the story anymore. SamD is a force to be reckoned with, and the main carry for TT.
Or at least so far in this game. PP God has time to redeem himself in this series. Perhaps game 2 he'll fare a little better, but you're absolutely right that in that 2v2, SamD and Teen have come out way, way ahead. And now that we're looking towards, I mean, we're almost at the 30-minute mark here, Dagda. The next Drake has spawned on the map. You see TT immediately moving on over, but Baron's going to be coming up in a minute as well. And I mean, we just talked about items. Y4 finally finishing a 3rd. He's had to go for the Lord Dominic's as his 3rd item. Mole has got 3 as well. Is that enough for V5 to be able to take a fight?
I mean, they're going to try. You can see all the vision control that's there for them. They put in a lot of deep wards here so they can get vision early of TT. I think what they're really looking for is not to just go toe-to-toe in a fight like you're kind of talking about, Munch. More so to look for a pick. See if they can maybe find someone in transition before they get towards that Baron. But already TT are aware of this. They're clearing out all the vision. You got nothing left there for V5. And now it feels like they're left with this game turning to dust in their hands.
V5 praying for a miracle, which conveniently for them, they do have PP God on their side, so hopefully some kind of religious magic can come on through for them, but it's not looking good. I'm not gonna lie. TT just gonna be clearing away the jungle as they make their way towards this Baron. Yet to crack an inhibitor just yet, but they are poised for victory on Soul Point. They can just move over to this Baron whenever they feel like, try and force V5 to fight.
I'm looking at this bot side as well. Chalitza does have TP available, pushing this wave in. You see Invincible's backing, so he wants to see if he can get there beforehand, but that's the pick!
The knock up onto Sam D. As soon as we compliment him, he's taken down, and now Teen will be chased on through. Xiaopeng as well, trying to escape. They are tanky, to be fair to them. They should be able to walk away. But now the Renekton, unfortunately, Twyla, he's looked good this game, but he's not invincible because Invincible's playing Aatrox. He goes down in the mid lane, and V5, they found themselves that miracle pick we were talking about.
God, why does it always happen to TT? The second you start to believe, the second you go, maybe, just maybe they can do it,
Dude,
they end up getting picked off. And look, I don't like it.
TT,
I don't like you like you.
TT of the new Vici, where it's like you've got it, everything looks fine. It looks like they're finally building up a strategy, and then iBoy gets caught out in the mid lane. Sam D is just iBoy 2.0, I guess, because he's just getting caught out at the worst possible moment. Xiaopeng chased away, has to flash. Chalitza does trade it for a mid lane inhib tower, so hey, silver linings, I guess, but maybe can't get away with the play. All right, this is going to get chaotic, Dagda. They're chasing down on Chalitza. The flash bear slap comes through from Weiwei. Chalitza, he's got a GA. He's got a lot to work with here, but can he go for the 1v4? Apparently so, because Weiwei nearly goes down. Chalitza walks away with his life. Teen now, has he sacrificed his own life? Looks like it, as his top laner does get out.
God, this is getting a little bit hectic. Chalitza, as he said, gets the mid lane inhibitor turret, does get away, but unfortunately Teen will go down. And then I'm looking topside as well. Twyla just like, right, we need to push these waves out. We need to make sure V5 are not getting any sort of pressure with this Baron buff, so he's going to push out topside. But beautiful from Mo. And so many times when Mo is on this Syndra, he is the savior in these fights, and you're seeing it once again, picking off Sam D. And from there, V5 know they've already won this fight. You don't have the main source of damage on this TT lineup with Sam D gone, and they're just chasing TT to the hills.
Beautiful stuff from V5. They just group up in a death ball and just annihilate anyone that comes near them. Look at the scoreline on Mole right now. 5-1-5. He's on 4 items. We are getting to the point where he can really take advantage of this game. Xiaopeng chased out. It's this Baron for V5. Gives them so much space to find more on the map. They got the bot lane tier 2 already. They now have a mid lane tier 2 on top of that one. Drake coming up in 1 minute and 10 seconds, Dagda. This would be Soul for TT. What did TT do to put themselves in a position to grab this Soul and not lose another fight?
Well, it definitely needs to be a case of getting control of the area again, like getting that vision down and making sure that Sam D can't be picked off. Like, this is a protect the Sam D composition right now, because Chalitza can survive by himself, Xiaopeng and Twyla are super tanky. It's just Sam D is the only vulnerable part of this TT squad right now.
So we're looking at Sam D in the fights here. Invincible moves towards the bottom side, as it's V5 that are the ones in control of the Dragon Pit. 30 seconds until that comes up. TT, they need this win. They need this moral win. But Weiwei is to engage a fight, just sprinting around in bear stance for now. As their Hex Flash from PP God just basically on the spot, you know, just style on him a little bit before the fight. Solar Flare goes down. Keep your eyes on Mole, but he Zhonya's, dodges away from the ultimate. Y4 in trouble now, but he's got to stop watch of his own, and the rest of the squad's arrived. But the V5 health bars are churning down. TT grouped up. The Blade Caller through everyone is invincible, trying to take down Sam D, but he just can't close the gap. Sam D kiting everyone. In the meantime, Chalitza takes down Y4. V5 are rooted, and TT makes their way to the base.
And TT will win game 1 of this series. Weiwei's Udyr adding another loss to the Udyr column. And my word, TT, 1-up against V5.
This fight? What? This is the classic wet noodle fight. 2 tanks with absolutely no damage, just beating the crap out of each other and doing absolutely nothing. They're going to grab some extra minions. TT, a deserved victory lap here as they finally get themselves their 2nd game win on the board.
Nice job from TT to pick up the first game of this series. And honestly, a heap of this was on Xiaopeng from the get-go. Realizing, hey, look, if I'm going for this Sejuani, I can't be farming. I gotta be active on the map. Yes, I'll fall behind when it comes to experience and my CS, but getting my lane